fine and dandy. But click on the drop-down menu here. When you click down on the drop-down menu, you'll be recommended to visit the Ella Baker Center. Now, the Ella Baker Center. Why do I know that? Oh, I remember. That's Van Jones. Van Jones started the Ella Baker Center. Communist. Also, you'll be introduced to the International League of Religious Socialists. 2 clicks, and we're in socialist territory. 1 click, and we're at a communist, in communist territory. That is the social justice that these groups are fighting for, and the kind of social justice that I think you need to fight against. You're going to hear a lot of crazy things because faith, hope, and charity are being rotted to the core. So you're going to hear things, because I'm going to take on social justice in its perverted way, that Glenn Beck hates Jesus. Let me make it extraordinarily clear to you. Every issue this government is bringing up right now is being framed as a moral issue. You heard that at the top, Barack Obama. This is a moral issue. We're about to go into immigration, and it's a moral issue. Yes, it is. But don't let that scare you. Remember, we're talking about the extreme left. Now, the extreme left is talking to me about moral issues. Moral issues. Didn't the extreme left have a problem with the moral majority? How about the Christian Coalition? Weren't they in churches and they had preachers telling people how to vote? Wasn't that the rap on the Christian Coalition from the left? Wow, I thought that was the enemy, #1 of the left. Why is it that the extreme left is now talking about social justice, moral responsibilities, etc., etc.? Why? The left understands if there is a wall you can't get around, you need to go into it like smoke through cracks. You need to infect it and destroy it. If you don't destroy it, use it for yourself. So it's interesting now to me that we're now being taught by social justice extreme leftist preachers about your Christian duty to have a big government or big government programs like health care and immigration. And all the issues are being framed around morality. May I show you something? I thought of this before I went on the air. It all kind of clicked in my head. We're a religious and moral people. We're moral people. We care. We have big hearts. All of us do. Well, here's the problem. Global warming. Global warming. Well, what do? Well, you got to sell it to people. They're moral. You don't want to hurt the planet, do you? Sell it to people. How do you fix it? Ecological justice. What is ecological justice? Cap and trade. Cap and trade means the United States, a country that has a lot of wealth, will go to a small country that has no wealth and will buy their air. Wow. That sounds like socialism. It actually sounds like forced redistribution of wealth, which is Marxism. Got it? Moral. Don't you just want to help people without health care? Well, gosh, yes, I do. I don't want to see anybody hurt, or I want to help. Right. This is economic justice. That's what this is. They can't afford it. Well, wait a minute. Hang on. That sounds like socialism, which actually is forced redistribution of wealth, taking it from the rich and giving it to the poor, which is Marxism. The moral education. Who doesn't want to help people get an education? You know, some people didn't have an opportunity to get an education. I mean, you have so much more opportunities. It's just about social justice and balancing those scales. No, it actually sounds like socialism, which is the forced redistribution of wealth, which is Marxism. And here's what came to me, because I was thinking about, for instance, one of Obama's czars, Mark Lloyd from the FCC. See what he says about social justice. Listen to this.
In a position where you have to say who is going to step down so someone else can have power.
It's a moral thing to do. Can't you? Your child, they had a good childhood. They had all of the things going for them. They're going to have to go to a college that isn't as good, and we're going to have to give that to somebody who didn't. It is social justice. Here's what came to me. What makes us a moral people? At the top of this, what makes us a moral people, and they're counting on this, is God, right? God teaches us how to be a moral people because we are a God-fearing people. God teaches us to be moral, and that makes us care about these things, okay? We're looking at it this way. But let's say you were a dope-smoking hippie back in the 60s and you were thinking, gosh, we just can't destroy this country. How do we do it? You were progressives, and you saw that the progressives started doing it with religion back in the turn of the century. Then you kind of lost your way on that. We're reading it down. But what happens if you were a Marxist and you said, okay, I'm a Marxist and I really want the forced redistribution of wealth. Let's call it socialism. No, that doesn't work. How about if we call it social justice? And we use a topic like education, and we can sell it to people because they're moral. God. Marxist, redistribution, I want it forced. Socialism, we can't sell. Economic justice, and we can point out that it's about health care because they're moral. They'll serve God. How does this not make sense, America? How does this not make sense? Now, here's the scary part. God is up here. This is godless. This is government. Their God is government. That's why they can create rights. To you and me, we know God creates rights. No, government creates rights. Look at this. This pattern I had been working on for a while, and I haven't gotten it. It didn't click into my head until recently. Our foundation needs to be restored. That's the problem with our country, is our foundation is being rotted. Our foundation is falling apart. We need to stack it back up. What is our foundation? Our foundation is God, which makes us a moral people, which makes us charitable, which makes us care about health care. And the government is the smallest part of that. The government can administer what we can't. You see? What are they doing to it? You want to fundamentally transform this nation? You do this. Why is the chalk always government? Do this, and actually reverse these two. Government is your biggest thing. Into social justice. They'll use health care and your morals, and God is the littlest part. If they can convince you that God is the littlest part, if they can get us away from here and here, just play on this to strengthen this, they win. They all have one thing in common: taking from one person and giving to another. The second half of that equation, giving to another, is charity. But then someone like Barack Obama's new spiritual advisor says this.
We have to be very clear about this. Voluntary faith-based initiatives with no resources to make any serious difference in poverty reduction is not adequate. That's a charity that falls far short of biblical justice.
Voluntary charity doesn't go far enough. Give to the poor. Take from the rich. This half is charity. But the first half of that equation, take from the rich, is theft. You can boil all of these justices down to one thing. It is a fancy name for socialism, which is forced redistribution of wealth, which is a fancy name for Marxism. This is why you must be careful. Jesus preached many things, but he never preached Marxism. If you voluntarily want to live in a commune, I could see Jesus saying, that's cool, it's cool with me. But I never heard him say, take from someone and give it to someone else. In fact, I'm pretty sure we got that tip not just from Jesus, but also from the original Jewish religious leader, Moses. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not covet. I want what they have. And for those who say somehow or another that I am distorting the socialist view of social justice, oh my goodness. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy brother. Holy cow, you've broken 3 commandments, 3 of them, all on one principle. That's amazing. And for those of you in the administration who are coming after me on this one, I mean, remember, you've broken 3. Let's not make it 4. Thou shalt not kill.